Warning: the following episode of That Mental Ginger Show contains strong language and adult themes. Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with your host Andrew Durning, aka The Mental Ginger. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. The more likes we get, the more views we get, and the more subscribers that we gain into our faithful following will help us bring the channel one step closer to the professional content that we know you all love. On today's show, we're talking with comedian and entrepreneur Kim Nash. Kim has a very, very dark sense of humor. So you could tell that he and I would have got on like a house on fire. But what really impressed me about him is that he's so young. You'll find out how old he is when you actually watch the podcast. But he's so young. And he started in the comedy game at only 16, and he's done so much since then. But what exactly has he done, I hear you ask? We'll watch the episode and find out. So let's cut to the intro. All right, troops. Kim, an absolute pleasure to have you on the podcast. How you doing, my friend?
Yeah, not bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thanks. You should be very, very honoured for this, because only one other comedian that I have had on, I've actually seen their stuff before they've came on the podcast.
Wow, I am honoured now.
Yep, and that guy's he's actually quite a big deal in the circuit. Have you ever heard of Chris Thorburn?
The name's ringing a bell.
Well, he's a Scottish guy. He's got kind of an American style accent. He's done a lot of work for the BBC, The Social, as well.
Okay,
yeah. So I've only seen his stuff because I've been pals with him since childhood. So yeah, you're an illustrious company, my friend.
Excellent.
And so we can get it out of the way. For the listeners, I had jumped on to an open mic night at the time of this recording, and I died a horrible death. But on before me was Kim. And Kim was, and I put this in the greatest of respect, fucking hilarious.
I appreciate it. That's probably the best review I normally get. So the review I'll normally get is "we are fucked." So it's like,
well, the two reviews that I have had for this podcast legitimately have been not the worst thing on the internet.
Okay, fair enough.
And almost like listening to a real podcast.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm monetized now, you motherfuckers. I'm a real podcast now.
I'm earning money now, you fucking bitch.
Yep. Not to brag, but at the time of this recording, I have made a whole 27 pence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
I could buy a Freddo.
Can you even buy a Freddo now?
Probably not, actually. By the time this podcast has gone out, inflation will probably fucked it, and it'll be like £3 for a Freddo. So that's probably
cheeky bastard.
Exactly. There's a reason why you don't like the frogs. Well, what I like to do, Kim, is I like to get my guests to start off by telling my audience their origin story, because if there's one thing we've all got in common, we all have an origins. So, Kim, in your own time, for my faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Okay, so growing up, I was a huge drama nerd. I used to love it when I was younger. I used to love me and my mum used to play, on the PlayStations, like the old shitty karaoke games.
Yes.
You used to get. We used to, me and my mum, I can't remember what it was called, but it was really shitty. It had stuff like Madonna and shit.
Was it Rockstar Karaoke?
Yeah, sounds like it. Yeah. So we would, every week we'd be, singing to that. And that's where my passion from the acting perspective came from. And then as I grew up, I wanted more and more this drive of, I love entertaining people. I love making people laugh, intentionally or not. And I also just love having an audience. I love seeing audience reactions, which plays into acting and also comedy at the same time. And it wasn't until around about the age of 14, 15 when I basically just started being really like jokey towards all my classmates in school. Like I was trying out jokes. And at one point, my bestest friend went, why don't you just do like stand-up comedy? At the time, I didn't know stand-up comedy was, you know, something so accessible.
Yeah.
You know, you could just turn up to an open mic, talk shit for 5 minutes, and then, you know, you never know where it goes from there.
Yeah.
And it was 2018. At the time, I had failed all my exams in school that I knew of at the time. I didn't know whether I had failed them, but I saw them as I failed. And there was around about 20 minutes away from where I was living at the time, there was an open mic going on. And normally it was for 18 plus, which anyone listening in like America, you'll know that in 18 plus is the standard for comedy clubs mainly. And I just emailed the guy who was running it. And I said, look, at the time I was 16. I went, look, I'm 16. I want to try it out. Could I maybe come down and try? And he was like, normally we wouldn't allow it, but we're going to allow you this one exception and see how you go. And so from that exception, I remember getting there shaking like anything. I was shaking like a leaf. And I just remember walking onto the stage. It wasn't even a fucking stage. It was like the corner, a back room of like this really shitty pub. Yeah. So it didn't even have a stage. It was more like a floor, if anything, which is the standard nowadays. And I just remember walking up to the mic, and the one line I said in particular, and I can't use it now in my set because it's political correctness. I said, Pikey's night out then. And it got the biggest laugh ever. I hadn't even said anything. In a really high-pitched voice, I went, Pikey's night out, isn't it? And the whole audience were on my side. And it was at that moment where I realized, oh my God, I can actually do this. I'm actually funny. Fast forward 2 weeks later, on my second gig, where I attempted to do a 10-minute set after doing a 5-minute set. Died a horrible death. Died on my ass. I did about 6 minutes, and after 6 minutes, I then started spending the next 4 minutes talking about The Walking Dead. Like, just trying to see if the audience had watched it. And the MC, I just remember the MC in particular looking at me going, what the fuck is he doing? What the actual fuck is he doing? Fast forward about 3.5, 4 years, I'm now coming up to the 4-year anniversary in the summer. And I now run, you know, my own nights. I'm a comedian who, as Colin Etches famously said, treads a fine line between pure comedy and a mental breakdown, which I actually, I always use that. Whenever me and Colin host shows, I always use that. I always say Colin gave me the best testimonial ever, and I use it a lot. And, you know, COVID, I think, was a main player in why people think I'm hilarious. Now, take into context, all comedians are just self-centered bastards. Like, they're so self-centered. So me saying, oh, I think I'm fucking hilarious anyway, is what the norm is for comedians. But it's different when, you know, other comedians say, oh, you're fucking awesome, to when audiences go, yeah, he's all right. Like, which normally, but yeah, COVID has been really weird for me because I got to launch my own brand, and I met so many comedians. Some of them I've managed to write fringe shows with. One that got nominated last year and also won an award. So that means again. That's what happens if you make or break at Edinburgh, people. If you make or break at Edinburgh, you can do it. Unless people look at you and go, this show ain't funny, it's just you covered in fake blood. It's like, so what? They found it hilarious. But yeah, that's my origin story, really.
Oh, nice one, man. How old are you again, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 20.
20. Wow. I have a whole 14 years on you, like almost 15 years. It's like I'm literally a kid who's just started masturbating like what above this? What that's a full generation right there. Oh man. Well, so tell me about your comedy nights. Like, tell me about everything that you've set up. What for any of the faithful followers that might want to listen in, check you out.
Yeah, of course. So in May of 2020, when we were all, I was at a point where I was like, I've masturbated too much. I've had
No
enough.
such thing as too much, mate.
Yeah, well, too much for that week anyway. But
I was always too much for a day. Well, I remember. I remember the house I grew up in. Well, I pity the poor guys that moved in after me because it was just an entire floor covered in like teenage spunk goblins. It was unreal.
Oh, fucking hell.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell.
You should have realised this after our gig, man. I have no filter.
Oh, fucking hell. Anyway, so the brand that I launched, Reckless Comedy, which there's a funny story about the name coming up later, is I launched it originally, ironically, as a podcast because I got bored and I just asked a load of comedians that I knew at the time. 3 of them fucking hate me. Now they do anyway because I won an award. They do now. They do now. That's why they don't talk to me anymore because I'm an award winner. Shut up, prick. Anyway, so yeah. So so I launched the brand Reckless Comedy originally as a podcast, and it got to around probably about August of that year of 2020, the year we all wish never happened, but unfortunately we actually do wish it happened, and it did. And I started running online shows. Now, when you go, this was the first time I started promoting. This was also the first time I'd gone from, at this point, comedian to promoter to MC in a not a long amount of time. I was only like 2 or so years into comedy at the time. So I was still relatively new. I weren't even on like 40 gigs, if that. I weren't even on 30, maybe 40. So
I'm not even at double digits, mate. You're doing better than I have.
Yeah. Well, you died once.
I've died a few times. That's another story.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, the online shows went off really well. There was people from India, America, Australia coming in wanting to do spots. And it was at that moment when I realized, I reckon I can make something out of this. I reckon there's something in it. And then fast forward, more lockdowns later, more wanks later, to around about July last year when I launched my first ever physical night up in Brighton in the UK. I'm not based in Brighton, but that one didn't last long. That lasted 2 months because the other promoters in Brighton fucking hate me. They know who they are. They hate me. So they decided to make false claims and shut my night down. So It was like, fuck.
What type of claims did they make?
They were saying that apparently I was abusive to the sound engineer, I was abusive to the audience, and it's like, well, to be fair, one of them were snogging their boyfriend whilst making sure the mics were working, and the other one brought fucking food into a venue that had no outside food policy.
Oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, now you know how I felt. So then after that, Reckless went downwards for about 3 months. We went down and we went, right, what do we do? Like, how do we do this? We've just had a night shut down. And anyone who knows anything is, if your night gets shut down, context or not, that sounds really bad. Like, it sounds like you did something extreme, whether they know the context or not.
Yeah.
And then I just started literally emailing like pub chains, going, look, if you want a comedy night, I will put it on. I don't care. Pay me or pay me not. I don't care. That's what Shakespeare should have said. Anyway, and I emailed a venue, the Rose and Crown in Kentish Town in London, and they already had 2 other nights on in that venue anyway, in the basement, where all comedians go to hang out. It's like Fight Club, but without class.
I was going to say, it seems a bit it's like Silence of the Lambs for comedians.
Yeah, basically, yeah. but with many opportunities. And so yeah, we launched the show there, and then we're sort of looking. We launched that. Ironically, we launched the London night just as COVID was kicking back up again, where loads of gigs were like cancelling because everything going on. And then that happened, and then we were able then to launch a second night, which we're launching at the time of recording next week, which is in another part of London. And then before we've even launched that one, we've got another venue which is 5 minutes down the road from our first venue in Kentish Town, which is a steakhouse. They've given us the basement, so we've gone from chain pub basement to upstairs in a pub that's normally used for yoga, back down to the basement of a steakhouse, and then our final venue, which is in Greenwich in London, is we don't even know where in the pub we are. We're just in a chain pub. So we can probably guess how that one's going to go. And we're 4 nights. People will think like, oh, running 4 nights, piss easy. No, it's not. The admin. That's the thing I hate the most about being a promoter is the admin. The admin fucking kills me. So yeah, and the funny story about Reckless's name is during the pandemic, we had I wouldn't say run-in. We had a little bit of an issue because we in Leamington Spa here in the UK, there's another Reckless comedy. And all the Zoom comics who wanted spots on my night kept messaging the Leamington Spa night.
Oh no.
Hadn't been running a night at all. So they emailed us going, right, look, we're happy with you having the name for the time being, but can you please tell your comics to stop fucking messaging us? And I'm like, shit, I didn't know. I genuinely didn't know that there was another one existing. So they were then at one point like, oh, maybe when the pandemic's over, pandemic over, never. They were like, oh, can you maybe change your name? And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll change my name. Fuck off, am I changing my name? Because it's too late now. It's too fucking late now. What are they gonna do? Unless they get a cease and desist, then it's funny.
In fairness, though, like you've still been going with the name, and they stopped. So by that kind of that transition, like you technically have more clout than them now.
Yeah, and this is the thing, they've only just started their live mics again after like nearly 2 years. So it's like we were still going.
Yeah. Why don't you class it as like a multiverse? What, and you do like a combination kind of style? What, you do like a multiverse with them?
Yeah, the funny thing is at one point they tried the Leamington Spa night also had a bit of problem with us because then they posted like a meme. I can't remember what meme it was, but they posted a meme on their page which basically took the piss out of us. And it sort of turned into this clout of the Leamington Spa is the better Reckless. And I'm just there like, look, Chris, fuck off.
Yeah.
Pack it in, Chris. But no, it is what it is. You come across that occasionally where, you know, one night will have the same sort of name, but the two Recklesses are very different. Their Reckless is very pro night, where ours is mainly open mic / showcase. And I think the reason why ours is slightly showcase is I think we took a lot of inspiration from Sounds Proper because we have a lot of respect for Sounds Proper. Like we've done multiple gigs with Rachel and Colin and that lot, Maeve as well. We just had Maeve on one of our physical nights recently.
Nice.
I'll say this to anyone listening: if you ever get a chance to gig with Maeve physically, she is fucking hilarious. Like there was a point where she had me laughing so much. Where the basement we were in, there's a bar that they don't use. Yeah. I stand behind that bar when I'm not on stage, and Maeve had me laughing so much I fell down behind the bar and nearly knocked myself out on the fridge behind me. that is how funny it was. It was that, that laughing moment where you're on the floor and you're genuinely trying to get your breath back.
Yes.
And the MC was, because it was a half and half MCing night, the other MC went on. All you could hear behind the bar was it sounded like I was having a very severe wank behind the bar.
I was going to say, like, we're really not escaping the masturbation jokes here, are we?
No, there's a but no, Maeve is fucking brilliant. As you've seen, as she MCs, she's fucking brilliant. I got a lot of respect for her and Colin as well.
Mm-hmm. No, they're absolutely brilliant. Like, they're a great bunch. Like I said, I've only been on theirs twice, but I've thoroughly enjoyed the acts and got to see how different people operate with their style. And what would you say? I always like to find out about the process for a comedian's material, and how they come up with their ideas, and what their thought process is behind it. So what's yours?
My thought process is, and I've said it in a set before, and it never gets a laugh because everyone knows it's true, is I just ramble on a fast pace with very little pauses, so people actually think I'm smarter than I actually am. That's literally my thought process. Like, it took a second for you to go, oh, yep, okay, right, cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, I just ramble on, but I do think a lot about my jokes. I think which ones are witty and what ones aren't. So, like the Romeo joke I'm doing at the moment, as we were talking about before we started, everyone expects a punchline with the Romeo joke. Like, some people have said, oh, why don't you satire, where thou art is Romeo? And I'm like, no, because that doesn't make it funny. There's a reason why Romeo and Juliet is depressing. You know, it's like if someone made a musical adaptation of The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and like Sylvia Plath putting her head in the oven, going, "It's a hot day." Like, it's not gonna fucking work. But anyone who hasn't seen my set, I am actually reading The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and I use that. I use that as a joke, as oh, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Fucking hell, it is bad. No wonder you put your head in the oven, love. I mean, but that's like one of the darkest jokes I have. I think.
In fairness, when you heard my set, you'd heard a couple of dark jokes on it. The next set that I done, I really went dark. I talked about Russia, Ukraine.
Oh, fucking hell. To be fair, me and the sketch co-writer, who I write a lot of sketches with, and also who wrote my award-winning Fringe show, Michael Monkhouse, who runs Farm Comedy Club out in Rome. We just wrote a sketch about Putin and Ukraine, and it involved me doing a really bad Russian accent. But it was this really bad Russian accent that started off German, went Welsh, and then back to German again.
Oh man!
It was sort of like, yes, they are lovely. It's like, fucking hell.
Oh man!
But no,
I used to do a skit, and it was about accents as well, and it was how a lot of accents sounded the same, and it was like, you'd have your Geordie, and then it would go into your Welsh, and then it would go into your Pakistani as well, then going like that, and then I was like, okay, right, I can't use that anymore because of certain things. But
I used to have a really dark joke in my set, which I can't even remember how it went, but it was about like my late granddad who got into a misunderstanding with a Pakistani man. I used to do an accent where the original line was, "Oh, take a sheet in the back," but I would do it in the accent. I was like, "Take a sheet in the back." Like,
oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
I got cancelled so much for that joke, and that's why I don't do it anymore.
In fairness, at least you got cancelled for something legit. I get cancelled for calling Thomas the Tank Engine a ball bag. I kid you not. 3 death threats.
Hell.
3 death threats.
Is that seriously what political correctness is now?
That's true.
Fucking hell.
But on my, because before I started doing this, I just had like my own kind of personal YouTube channel, and I was a bit bored, and I thought I'm going to do like because I'm a Thomas the Tank Engine fan, massive train dork. Well, and I thought I'm going to do like we top 10 lists, like, best episodes, worst episodes, and just do it for my own amusement. Why not? So I did a worst list and I put Thomas on there, and I was like, yeah, in the books, he's a bit of a prick. But I was like, and I was like, I'm sorry, Thomas, but you're just a ball bag. Well, and I had like, proper rationale to justify it. But it was just really for me. So I put it down, put it up, and I was like, well, no one's going to watch this. 700 views and then 3 death threats.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well, and I'm pretty sure they were all just autistic 12-year-old virgins.
Fucking hell. Like,
it was crazy.
Fair, like, I wish I had a bit like that. I would probably say, like, Henry's just a lazy fucking prick. Like, he stayed in a fucking tunnel for so long. He's a fucking lazy prick. James is a pretentious wanker.
Oh, yes.
James is a pretentious fucking wanker. And don't get me started on the back controller. He's a fucking cunt. Like,
yes. Oh man, I'm actually doing another podcast called The Ginger Engine where we read and review like the Railway series books. You've got to come on as a special guest. You've got to.
Yeah, I'll just be there. Like, right, James is a prick. Henry's a prick. Gordon can go fucking run off a rail.
Yes.
And the back controller's wife, she's just a slag. Like,
no, she's not a slag. She just doesn't fucking do anything.
She does
absolutely nothing.
Fuck all.
Yeah, does nothing. Absolutely nothing. And aside from complain, she complains all the fucking time. Like,
it's like, shut up, you fucking moany bitch.
Oh, I'm gonna clip this and send it to the Thomas fan community that I'm a part of. They are going to hate me, but it's gonna be so worth it.
They're gonna fucking kill both of us.
Oh yeah, I'm already in their back.
What's the worst you're gonna do? Throw a troublesome truck at me?
Well, I had one of the guys saying that he was going to find me, murder me, and then when I went to hell, he would come down to hell with me and keep on murdering me. That was one of the death threats.
What the hell?
Yeah, it's crazy how seriously they take it. Don't get me wrong, I love Thomas the Tank Engine, like I said, and it's got a lot more war than fucking Middle Earth. When you look into it, it's unreal. And I am a big fan. But at the same time, I'm not afraid to call a spade a spade. James is a wanker.
He fucking is. He's a fucking red wanker.
Yep. And the whole reason that Americans like him is because he's cocky and he's vain, and that fits into the kind of American ethos. Whereas in Britain, we don't have that. We're more reserved and more kind of, we'll keep the compliments and letting the vanity kind of close to our chest. We'll keep the cards close. But we won't be like, yes, I'm awesome. I'm amazing. Now
you can look at it from a political correctness standpoint. You could look at it and go, well, the Steamies and the Diesels, they're just one side of racism. The Diesels are maybe representing the blacks, and the Steamies are representing the whites. It's like, how has no one caught on to this? The steam engines are racist.
They've caught on to it.
They're racist.
It's been done to death. It's the whole thing about because they did it with a TV show. They do, Steamies and Diesels don't like each other, but eventually they have to work together to resolve their differences and get on. And then the lesson's never taken, and they just go back to hating each other again. And you're like,
it's just like a reset every fucking day.
Yeah, pretty much. And don't get me started on like the narrow gauge engines. That's dwarfism.
Oh, they can just fuck right off.
I love the narrow gauge engines, but it's definitely dwarfism because they're like, oh, it's the big tall engines, the big muscular engines, are just these wee tiny ones that nobody thinks can do anything, but they're really they're fucking mental. Especially Duncan. You cannot beat like a crazy Scottish train.
Oh, Duncan's a fucking moron. Oh god.
Yeah, he's nuts. They tried to make Rusty transgender.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you ruin Rusty? What the fuck?
Because they wanted him. They wanted Rusty as gender neutral. Well, as the series kind of progressed, so they never really said like a he or she, but and I think it was season 9, in the UK dub they said like Rusty is a diesel, he enjoys working the line, but over in America they said Rusty is a diesel engine, she enjoys working up and down the line, and I'm like, when did Rusty have a sex change?
What are they gonna do now? Are they gonna make Daisy a fucking oh my god.
Oh, they kicked off about
Why?
Daisy as well when because in the books she doesn't have like a resin face. Well, she's just all kind of plain. But in the TV series, she's given a face, but she's like tarted up. So they were saying that it was objectifying women, and I'm like, fuck off, man. It's like if you have an attraction to an anthropomorphized diesel engine, then you should be going to therapy.
If you're genuinely like sexually attracted to what is in the train industry known as a DEMU, then you need to stop putting your dick in its fucking exhaust pipe and go fuck a woman, you fucking moron.
It's amazing. Like, it really is. Like, there's a lot of like it's
Do people get turned on with it going over its dick? It's like, oh fuck, my dick is getting crushed, but I love it.
They're just like, oh, that gets me up the runway.
I'll give you a fucking runway in a minute.
It is crazy. Well, it's absolutely nuts. Like,
it is
like even for comedy material for yourself, I would highly advise trying to get onto a Thomas fan site and just take that material and run with it, because you will slay. What? Because I'm crap at doing the jokes. I'm great at giving people jokes. I've learned this doing the podcast. Well, I had a comedian on, Maggie Whitehouse, ironically, another steam enthusiast, because she actually grew up. Her dad owned like a steam railway, and she wrote books about it and stuff. So she's a bit older than us. Well, and she was talking about how she used to like work on the trains, and then she was doing horse riding. I went, oh, she went from shoveling coal to shoveling shit. And she went, can I use that? And I was like, aye, fire away. So yeah, so there you go, man.
I'm not copywriting it.
Yeah, you can take some of that material, like, adapt it, use it. Use my knowledge to enlighten the masses.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the same as me and my writing partner, Michael. The good thing about me and Michael is we have a partnership that is like, we know each other's sets better than anyone else. So occasionally we will swap, or occasionally we will use each other's jokes in each other's sets. And people who've seen us multiple times, they're like, oh, he's doing his joke, he's doing that joke. And to me, I'm just laughing my head off going,
yeah,
you can't fuck up that you fuck up that punchline, I'm going to punch you. Right?
Yeah,
I spent 2 seconds on that joke.
Oh man, you know what that sounds like? I've got twin boys, identical twin boys. Well, and that's like when they swap their glasses around to try and confuse us to who's who. And I'm like, I created you. I know the difference, you little spunk goblins.
You came out of my balls.
Yeah. See, anybody that's not looked at their kid and then looked at their dick and gone, you used to be goop, and now you're actually walking.
Yeah, liars. You used to be all right, but now you're just a spunkhead.
I mean, in fairness, they're only 3. They're coming up by there'll still be 3 by the time this comes out, so they're okay. They're doing all right. So we'll just wait and see. Well, I mean, they're not ginger. That's a plus.
I'm saying nothing because I feel like the ginger community is going to kill me again.
No. Don't worry about it. With the ginger community, we're just nuts. But it's okay.
Yeah, there's no word for you lot. It's just like, yeah, we are what we are.
Yeah, you're speaking to the relatively okay ginger, and that's saying something.
The relatively okay ginger. I like that.
Yeah, that could be an offshoot of this podcast.
Yeah, it's like the okay ginger.
Yeah, definitely. Man, I'm really impressed by how much you've done in such a short space of time in the comedy circuit. Like, you've done brilliantly. You've enjoyed your runs. Like, you've essentially created your own comedic empire. Like, you're constantly expanding with it. You've got you seem to have a good team behind you. Like, yeah, I'm really hoping that you keep carrying on, and for being like 20 years old and doing so well. It's really amazing, buddy. Keep it up because you're one funny motherfucker, man. You're absolutely hilarious.
Ironically, I've not fucked anyone's mums yet. So, well, as far as I'm aware. So,
There's still time.
yeah, there's still time.
You are young. You will learn.
You will learn how to fuck her mum.
The irony is, like, because I've got kids now, like, anytime I go have sex with my wife, I am a motherfucker.
Yeah, true.
And I'm like, hey, I can finally use that.
I
Well,
can use that one, bitch.
Yep, I walk around and I'm like, yep, see, that's a MILF. That's a MILF right there. And if they go, yeah, I'll be like, right.
I like it.
That's my wife I'm talking about. Oh, man. So we are starting to come up on time. So I'm going to ask you the same question that I ask all my guests. Well, because it is a mental health related podcast. If you could give one piece of advice to anybody that's struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be and why?
Okay, there's two ways I can look at this. I can go the comedic route and go, don't be like Sylvia Plath. Just because your book is shit doesn't mean an oven is waiting for you.
That sounds like my recent comedy experiences.
Yeah, just become Sylvia Plath. It would have been fine. But I think a bit of advice I live by is just keep having a positive mental attitude. Because there's been times in comedy where, you know, everyone knows this, you know, comedians and promoters, they'll get you down. You know, there's always going to be people who hate your stuff. And if you sit around moping about it, going, okay, fine, okay, nah, like, you're not going to get anywhere. Just, even if you're having a shit day, it's like the old saying, when life gives you lemons. In my case, you know, if life gives you lemons, don't eat the fucking lemons. You know, don't eat the fucking lemons. You don't have to eat the lemons. You know, if you're allergic to lemons, don't eat the fucking lemons. Like, but yeah, just keep having a positive mental attitude and take it from me. You'll get to where your goal is eventually. Whether that's whether it takes 5, 10, it takes however long it takes. But yeah, just keep having a positive mental attitude. And every day is a new day.
Very good advice, my friend. Well, I like the analogy. It's just like, you know, if you don't like lemons, there are other various forms of citric acid that you can try.
Yeah, if you don't like lemons, have a lime. If you don't like limes, then you're fucked.
Yeah, you can have an orange.
You can have an orange. If you don't like oranges, then go fuck yourself.
Right. So tell my audience where we can find your comedy troupe. Give me all the socials.
Okay, so on Instagram, you can find me on Instagram at Kim Nash Stand Up. If you want to see my comedy anywhere, you can, from the 11th of March 2022, you can buy tickets for a show that I wrote called The Carnage Returns, where you get to see me play a psychopath for an hour. Hey. 5 hours, actually, 5 shows over 5 weeks at Brighton Fringe. It's online, so you can tune in anywhere. Tickets will be £5 UK because we're all cheapskates and we need to make money. It's going to be a lot of fun. 5 shows over 5 weeks, 9 o'clock UK time every Saturday night. Tickets have just gone on sale for Friends of the Fringe, but they go on general sale on the 11th. An amazing cast, an amazing written show. There's musical numbers, there's strong language, there's scenes of a violent nature. It's what every over 16-year-old wants. You know, it's what everyone wants to see. And then if you want to see what open mics I run, you can go to Facebook and search up Reckless Comedy Podcast, and you will find us on there. We're running so many open mics, so many opportunities. And if there's comedians who want spots, then drop us a message on Facebook, and we will eventually, because it's a one-man ship, we'll eventually, well, I say we, I will get back to you eventually. If I don't get back to you, then I don't like you. So there's a simple, long story short, Instagram, Facebook, and buy tickets for the Carnage Returns, because we need the money.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's something that you need to remember, my faithful followers. Everyone needs money to keep going. So
exactly.
So give us all money.
Exactly. I'm getting paid a lot to be here. Yeah, I'm getting paid 26 point nothing p.
Yep. Well, that whole 27 pence profit, well, it's just going to have to go out. Well, I'm sorry, guys. Well, I've let you down. I've let you down.
Fuck. I have to pay my guest 26p. I get not even a p.
And then you have kids and you never get a p.
Yep, and you never get a bit of fucking peace.
Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. That's one of the reasons why I like
say in life, just don't be like Romeo Montague. Okay, don't be like Romeo. Have you ever noticed how many crimes Romeo actually gets away with? 2 counts of breaking and entering, being with an underage minor, and murder.
Mm-hmm. It's
no one's looked at it. Romeo's a fucking prick.
He's a sociopath.
Yeah, you know what I'm using now.
Yeah, in another life, he could have been Batman.
Yeah, he could have been. Can you imagine if Romeo was a millennial?
Oh my God. Well, technically, I am actually a millennial. Well, because millennials were born like between like 1982 and I think it was 1995 or something like that. So I was born in 1987. So we are millennials. Well, it's now all the Gen Z and the Gen Ys. They're the ones that were like pricks.
Just imagine if Romeo was a millennial, like one of them millennials wearing, the biker jeans with like the zips on the kneecaps.
Yes.
Like those fucking pricks. Proper gelled up hair, wearing a fucking leather jacket with like Montague on the back. This is very Pacific, but it's like I would happily punch him in the face. No wonder he slept with a 13-year-old. I mean, is that why? Was Romeo setting up the millennials to come by sleeping with underage girls? I don't know.
All I know was I think that was probably the book Jimmy Savile read before he started.
You know what? Romeo must have been Jimmy Savile's agent.
There we go. There you go. You've got plenty of material now, buddy. Well, see,
excellent.
I am a ginger muse. I help those who don't need it.
Bit like Romeo, you just help people even though they told you to fuck off.
That just sounds like every comedy set that I'm probably going to do.
Well, going by Sundays.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we come to Reckless Comedy's favorite segment, Ask Andrew Anything. Now, for my regular listeners, this is where me, after grilling my guest for, let's see how long it's been. It's actually been about 45 minutes. That's not bad. This is where we get to turn the tables around and you get to ask me a question. It could go very well. It could go very badly, but that's all part of the fun. So, Kim, do you have a question for this mental ginger?
Okay. This is interesting. I'm sticking on the Romeo theme here. Like, I'm just thinking, if you could think of one way to make Romeo more of a sociopath / dickhead, how would you do it?
Oh. Kill a baby.
I thought you were going to go with kick a baby down the stairs, but okay, fair enough.
That's not far enough, man. You've got to go proper.
You've got to go all the way.
What you go big or you go home. What you would have to kill the baby, and then you would have to put it on like a spit, roast it, and then feed it to Juliet.
Fucking hell.
You did ask how much.
Yeah, I was not expecting that fucking dark.
You saw my set on Sunday. You know how dark I can go.
Yeah. I was. You and me both have to do like a Romeo themed night now, and it's just like we just keep roasting the shit. Ironically, Romeo, like us roasting the shit out of Romeo. If that's us roasting Romeo, what did he do to Juliet? Spit roaster? Not the first time, probably.
Well, you know what it's like. They all running gangs. Maybe Romeo. Maybe that's why the Juliet's family was trying to keep away from Romeo's family. Maybe it was like a pedo ring.
I'm using that. I'm fucking using that. Oh, fucking hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense if you think about it. Because they're keeping them apart for a reason. Yeah. It's called the restraining order.
Yeah, and it's also called gangbangs.
Or gang rape, probably.
That's the deleted scene that Shakespeare just ripped out the book. He's like, no, not having that. Too much. I'll I'll save it for Macbeth. I'll save it for Macbeth.
Could you imagine Leonardo DiCaprio doing that adaptation?
I want to see that. That's the scene I want to see.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I know I'm going to hell, but I'm clearly dragging everybody with me.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Would you? This is the thing. What side of the family would you want to be on, Capulet or Montague? I wouldn't mind being on Montague just to see how much of a prick Romeo is.
Yeah, I'd want to just like go on that side to really see the inner workings of, because he's a prick for a reason. And as I've learned being a dad, it's learned behavior. They've learned it from higher up. So I want to know how much of a bastard his dad was. What did his mum do to him? What did he get like? Did he like get her to like, lick him out or something? What was she like licking his arsehole when he was 6 or something?
Maybe Romeo was dropped on his head. Maybe that wouldn't surprise me.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. Definitely not.
It really wouldn't.
Well, and as we are like scholars of the bard, we wouldn't be surprised if Shakespeare was dropped on his head.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like we joke about Romeo potentially being a paedophile. It's like, but Shakespeare famously said, "When I'm writing my plays, I know exactly what I'm doing." Now this is a Michael Jackson situation.
Oh man, I'm going to be controversial, but I really don't think that he did it. I don't think Michael Jackson did that. No, if you think about his brain, he's constantly thinking like a child. And see, when you're a kid, you don't think about shagging. He's got like a theme park in his back garden.
True.
Well, if that was me, I'd be like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to go in the water flume.
Yeah.
Well, he's got.
I don't care. I'd rather be on the log flume than get raped in my log flume.
Exactly, my friend. We don't want to drop logs where we're dropping logs.
I love it. Love it.
But it just didn't make. Well, it never really made sense to me. I'm like, he seemed very simple to me. Don't get me wrong, like very talented, like musician and stuff like that, like singing and stuff. But that's because he's being guided in the right direction. I think if he was just left kind of to his own devices, he'd be wandering about like a street trying to beg for change.
Yeah, like I say, I think Romeo would be the perfect example of a fucking annoying millennial. He would be. He's the millennial that everyone forgot existed.
There's another way I could make him extra annoying. Make him vegan.
Oh, fuck it. Yes. Please sign. Leonardo DiCaprio, email us.
Yeah, well, if we're taking from Leonardo DiCaprio, if he goes about climate change.
Romeo and Juliet set in 2022.
Yep. But that's what you need to write, my friend. Write Romeo and Juliet in 2022. The Gen Y.
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet in 2022. And what happens is just before the double suicide, you have like these people with phones going in saying, "Why are you meeting with a 13-year-old?"
Right.
Just a lot of pedophile like stings.
Right,
like a pedophile sting right as Juliet shoots herself.
When it ends a double suicide, like, can we please swap out like Juliet with Greta Thunberg?
Oh fucking hell! Yes.
Yep.
I fucking hate her. She's annoying. She's the reason I hate kids.
Yeah. I just hated kids because they're all a bunch of dicks. Well, and I admit my own kids can be pricks, but the only difference is they're my pricks and I love them. But anybody else, I'm not afraid to drop kick a kid.
Yeah, true.
No, definitely not. Especially I found out there was a kid in my boys' nursery class and was getting a bit he's got challenging behavior, which just means he's a cunt.
Yeah, it just means he's a fucking prick.
Well, and I'm like, you never feel so close to hitting other people's kids. Well, at least that's what they say until they start picking on your kids. But I've wanted to hit kids ever since I was a kid. It's like it just never left. Instead of me going right now, I'm going to hit the teenagers now, hit people my own age. I just kept wanting to hit the kids. I'm like, I mean, if that's the only thing that I'm going to do, fair dues. I'm okay with that.
Fair dues.
What would you rather? Like someone punching your kid or someone? Yeah, let's not go there.
I'd rather shoot Romeo in the head at this point.
Yeah. Oh man.
Instead of Romeo shooting himself in the head, maybe the pedophile sting should have gone, right. Thou shalt not live.
Oh man! And one thing that you should do, like CBBS do their own like kind of like adaptations of like plays and novels and stuff for kids, and they did a
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet one. I think you should watch it, and I think you should take notes on everything on it, and you could twist
You know what?
so
I'm
much of
actually
it.
going to do that after this. I'm going to try and search it out and
Yep.
see what this is. Just write down notes going, okay, so they got rid of the pedophile Romeo, replaced it with a Romeo who's not Romeo, played by a woman. Okay, female Romeo. So Juliet was getting fingered. Good. Okay, cool.
Yep. That's the best lesson to teach 3-year-olds. Foreplay is always important.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yep. Oh, man. Kim, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, buddy. I knew that we would have the same wavelength of like really disturbed humor. I'm more than happy to say you've lived up to my expectations and in fact exceeded those expectations.
Oh, stop flattering me. I'm not getting into bed with you.
There's still plenty of time. It's okay.
Yeah, true.
And many listeners of my podcast know that if I have a connection with a guest, I always say that when I convert to Mormonism, you will be one of my wives or husbands. You're just on the waiting list, buddy.
Oh, fun.
Yep. I'll just add you to my harem.
How fun.
Yep. Well, don't worry, you'll be in good company. We'll all have a good laugh.
Yeah, of course. That as long as we're laughing, that's fine.
Oh yeah. If you don't laugh, you cry.
That's what the kids said to Michael Jackson. What did Michael Jackson do to his penis? Beat it.
What was Michael Jackson's favorite song? I'm forever blowing bubbles.
Oh, fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
I got told that when I was 10 and I had no clue what it meant.
And you look at it now and it's like, shit.
And I'm like, whoa, that's a monkey.
Woo!
Yeah.
What did Michael like? Did Michael Jackson when he ejaculated went?
I'm just curious if that's what he used for his plastic surgery.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
Like, he's the only corpse I know that probably looks better after 10 years.
Yeah, well, to be fair, we don't know what Prince Philip looked like.
Yeah. But it makes sense with Michael Jackson's song. It really didn't matter if he was black or white because all we are is dust.
Oh, fucking hell. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I actually wanted to go on Stars in Their Eyes like when I was a kid. Remember the Stars in Their Eyes show?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure if that was just out of your age range, but you probably would have heard about it anyway. Well, and I remember saying that I wanted to go on as Michael Jackson. But
now you look back at it now and it's like, nope.
Yep. Well, my mom and dad were like, yeah, I don't think that's good. And I'm like, what? Why? I can sing like him because I had no clue that he was black beforehand because he was that when I grew up, the only time I knew him Earth song kind of time. It wasn't until I was a bit older and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, I get it now. Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think my dad once found my porn stash under my bed, and that was less embarrassing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Well, it's always fun when your dad finds your secret stash.
This is the thing. I was never allowed to masturbate in my mum's house. I was never allowed to.
Said that while I'm drinking milk.
In the garden shed. So I'd go to the garden shed because then I could have the argument. Technically, it's not in your house. It's in your garden.
Oh, brilliant. Well, you just have to be.
It's all right. It's all right until your little brother opens the shed door and you're just there like, fuck.
In fairness, I was that little brother that most of the time got caught. But yeah, it's one of those ones you look back and you think, oh God, was there nothing that I wouldn't have masturbated to? The answer was no, there really wasn't.
I know people who, like, when I was younger, thought like Madonna is masturbatable, and it's like, no. Even I wouldn't want to masturbate over Madonna.
Mm. Nope.
What a
Definitely.
weird way to end. What a weird way to end the podcast. Just talking about masturbating over Madonna.
There's been a good masturbating trend that's kind of flowed through the podcast as we've seen, and I'm pretty sure that's the only way we can really end the show, with masturbation, not physically, but metaphorically.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, Kim, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, man. Like, what? Yeah, you're absolutely hilarious. We're on the same wavelength of sixth sense of humor, except you're actually funny. But
Hey, come on, don't get yourself down. As my dad said when his penis fell
off. Yeah, it's like don't beat yourself up. Yeah, there was plenty of people at school that did that for me.
Yeah, don't beat yourself up. Just beat yourself off.
That's actually probably what I'm going to do tonight. Wife will be in bed. I'll be sleeping on the wife will be in bed. I'll be sleeping on the couch. It's a comfy couch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. If you ever do any gigs up Scotland way, man, let me know so I can get along and let's see what live the Apollo.
Yeah, I know there's quite a few comics up in Scotland that I know that I want to try and go up there eventually, even if it's just going up there just to do gigs. I'll go up there eventually. It's just when people start paying me for gigs.
Yeah, that's all. A load of money. It's always the key one. Do you ever get told, "Oh, it's exposure"?
Yeah.
Yep. And you're like, "What? No, I don't care about exposure. I'm not a flasher. I need money.
I need money. I'm not a stripper. I'm an actor. But I'm not a stripper."
It's like, I'm not a stripper, but I played one on TV.
I once played one.
Yeah. Never done that. Who in the right mind would want to see me naked? It makes sense. Even I say that even to my wife.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Well, let me know when you're doing any gigs up in Scotland, so I can give them some plugs as well. All the best with the comedy trip. I hope that you come up to Scotland as well, so I can see it's in all its glory. And if you do, please, if you do anything with the Romeo Shakespeare Millennial stuff, please let me know.
I'm going to start working on something.
Definitely. What you've got to do that type of style, but set to a Michael Jackson soundtrack.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that.
Yep, we've got it. There we go. I have given you your next project, my friend. Be free. Enjoy.
Be free.
So until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durning. This has been the brilliant Kim Nash. Please check him out if you're in the London or Brighton or just any areas where he's doing a comedy gig. Just check him out. He's my type of comedian. And if I like him, a lot of other people will. So until next time, my faithful followers, take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye.